Hi, welcome to Draw Plans. I'm Tom Norris, and today we're going to have a look at how we insert windows and doors into walls. This is a project that we done a few months back. It's basically a very simple project where we were refurbishing a ground floor flat in a Victorian property. And all the client wanted to do was to open up the back wall a bit and modernize a little with the bathroom and so on. Basically get a nice modern look to the back addition, which they didn't have before. But I'm using this project just to show you how we put in doors and windows into walls, because it's a simple little project, etc. And I'm going to put a few doors and windows into the walls here. But in addition to that, what I wanted to say was there are different thicknesses of walls, and there are different types of property, different types of windows, depending on the age, and I'm going to explain that as we go. So what I've done is I've made a copy of the ground floor flat. Here we've got the layout, and what we're going to do is focus on the back addition. And now, Victorian property, period property, and it's UK obviously, and it's London in fact, and on these Victorian houses we generally have old sash windows, like here for example you got French doors to gardens. You'd have sash windows in the main house at the front, but at the back, because of changes made over the last 50 or 70 years or so, you get a multitude of windows. So what I wanted to explain to you was the difference between, say, a sash window and a modern double glazed window, and how we install them in our drawings. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to pop a window in. So in order to do that, I'm going to get a line across, and let's assume the window is 1000. So I'm going to use, what am I using? I'm using the parallel. So let's just set myself up here a little. I'm going to use the parallel tools, and we're going to go 1 meter. Tab 1 tab 1 0 0 0. So we got 1 meter. Now this is for a sash window. Now the sash window, the traditional sliding sash window, sits flush with the plaster on the inside. And the actual box, which is called a box sash window, is about 100. So I'm going to go 100. Oops, start again. I'm going to go tab 100 and draw a line across. Now that's the actual box sash window, which sits flush with the plaster inside. So within that, we generally get a box section to take the weights, which is about 75. So we go tab 75 and draw a line, tab 75, draw a line. Now I could have done the parallel and then shortened the line, but there's so many ways of doing the same thing. Then all I do is I draw a line down there. But now I've still got the timber sill to deal with. Timber sill is normally about, the whole thing comes up to about 150. So I'm just going to go tab -50, and that's a reasonable elevation. Sorry, that's a reasonable layout now, on top layout on a sash window. But we've got the subsill, as in the stone sill. So how we do that is we go down tab 50. Oops, wrong way. You can tell it's live. Tab 50. Come out, tab 50, and tab 50. And I could use a multitude of tools for finishing this off. And oh, we don't need that. Just pop that down to there. pop this up. So now we're getting the drift. Right, there you go. That's a sash window, a sliding sash window, correctly represented in an external wall, the Victorian house. Now, remember, the box sash, the width will vary depending on the width of the window, but the thickness is generally about 100 for the box, and then 50 for the wooden sill at the bottom, and then we use generally 50 and 50 to represent the stone sill that sits underneath. So that is box sash window. So if I was now putting in a modern double glazed window, let me just copy. Will I? No, I won't. I'm going to just start afresh. So I'm going to put one in there, and I'm going to come down, tab -1, another window, effectively 1000 wide, but the difference is this window is going to be a double glazed sash window, or a double glazed representative of a sash window, but either way it's double glazed. Now the double glazed window doesn't sit on the inside, it sits about 20 mil back from the brickwork, and so this is what I would do. Tab 2, and I would do my line, and if I get the line, I go tab 1, so we allow 100. Now here, tab, go 60, maybe 70. In this case, we go 60. Tab 60, and then I just draw a line down here from the center. I seem to be missing a line. What happened to that? There you go. Now what we need to do is the actual sill. Now on a double glazed window, the sills sometimes they come out and turn, but a lot of the time, for simplicity, you can just do this. Tab 7, and tab 7, clear it up any way you like. Now, to me, that's a good representation of a modern double glazed window. This is your sash window, so you can see the difference in styling, but the double glazing sits almost flush with the front, maybe 20-30 mil back, so whereas the sash window sits to the back and will usually have a stone sill underneath. If you get this window with a stone sill, then I'd suggest you pop the sash into the middle or even on the back to represent basically and represent the whole thing, a little bit like the traditional sash window. That's how we do our windows. So now obviously the other big thing is doors. So a door, a back garden, a door going to the back garden. So if we took a standard door, 762, let's just do this. So I like, well, no, let's not go central. Let's tuck it to the right. But what we're going to do is we're going to come out a bit. Tab 50, and we're going to go there. So I'm going to show you how we do it. 5, tab 100. So I'm putting in a bit of a frame. Theoretically, that's how it would be. This would be, just pop that off and represent it like so. Now, if the door is 762, it would be from here, because the door is sitting on the outside, almost flush with the brickwork. Tab -762. Now this is a modern door. It's a UPVC back door. Pop that in there. Tab 50. And I'm showing you how to represent it. So it's nothing, but it's about consistency, in that you get used to doing things a certain way, and then it'll serve you well if you kind of do things that are correct or more or less correct at the start, and then just build on that and get used to doing it. So now when it comes to the actual door, the door opening out, we would leave that as so. On doors on the ground floor, say, we would remove the lines for the walls completely. That's actually okay. So now what do we do for a door? Well, again, I haven't got one here, well, because this is a PDF, so let's make up a door quickly. And for that I just need a little box. Tab 762, tab 28. So that's actually a door. We just don't need the bits in it. So just undo and get rid of this. Cancel. So now, show direction, we do a quadrant. And we can make that also 762. We can do that down here, 762, tab 762. And let's do the line, a dotted line, and let's make it light grey. So now what we want to do is we want to fix that there, and now it's a question of D. Right, that's your door. Now if the door was opening in, I would just do the reverse of that, which isn't too hard to copy. Oops, and let's just do the reverse of that. Control C. We could make a copy like this and go like so. And remove. Too quick with my click. By now you should be getting the idea. So the level of detail you pop into your plans, if it's accurate and it's represented like that, then that's quite smart. So then when you do fill your walls in, this is going to look quite neat. So I'm going to just fill a little bit of wall in there for you, give you an idea how we would do it, or how I would do it. Undo that. Let's just get one of these. Generally use this one for the fill. Choose the grey today. Take out the line around it so that we just have here. And I'm going to go with the D. Oh, well done. And so now we copy that. D. Could of course use a polyline tool to do this in one hit. It's a matter of choice. I don't like to use the polyline for a big area of fill, simply because if we need to modify, we have to completely redo the polyline as the quickest way of solving the issue, rather than just taking one of these out and then redoing again. So as I say, the idea here is to represent and to show you what we do, and it's I think just the idea that you can look over my shoulder and see someone with my many years of experience doing it, and I'd rather do it this way. I'd rather do this kind of detail. Don't need that. So I'd rather do it this way. Than there are probably much quicker ways. I know if I use the architecture mode here to draw the walls and the windows and so on, it's completely different, and it's instant, it's really quick, but we like to do it, we like to do things in a particular way, and you get used to doing it, and over the years this has served me quite well. So I'm just getting rid of those little partitions. So now what you're seeing, how we represent a door. If it's on the outside, pop it out. If it's on the inside, pop it in. But what you don't do is do the door directly off of these corners, because A, it doesn't look right, and B, that's not how it is. There's always a frame for the door. On the window, if you want to get a little bit more detail, it's up to you, and you can, nope, that wasn't good. You can pop the X's in if you want to give it a little bit more detail. And you know, when you do large drawings, then the summary, or all the detail adds up. That's what I'm really trying to say. All the details add up, and when I say that, it obviously takes a little bit longer to do, but it adds up into the quality of the drawing and the style of the drawing. So that's how we represent our doors and windows. On an internal door, it's very simple. We just latch on to one of the on an internal wall. We just latch on to one of the corners of the wall, etc. So that's how we would do it. But it's pretty simple, and we make one of these, which is a standard door, 762, and we can flip it and make the opposite, use the mirror tool, etc. But that's generally how we represent the exterior walls, interior walls, and how we pop the doors and windows in more accurately than just doing a window, as in a couple of lines. This has meaning. This is a upvc double glazed window, whereas this one will be a traditional sash window. And if you really want to play with it, add a bit of color, then you use a blue block on here. You know, there's different ways of doing it, but you're probably over egging it. Also, if we were, say, showing a replacement window in this drawing, then what we'd probably do is nope, can't do it, not set up for it. But what we would do is just change the color on these few bits. It's actually done on here and there. That's what we want to do. So just change. I was clicking the wrong one there. Yeah, so that's how we would change, but theoretically that's not exactly right there, because that little piece should be black, of course. So take it out. If it offends you, take it out. So I'm not talking about being a perfectionist here. I'm just saying that the more detail you put in, the better it will look. But that's how we would show, say, if there was 20 windows or 18 windows and we were replacing a couple of windows, all we'd use is a little bit of color to emphasize a replacement. Yeah, okay, that's it for this tutorial. Hopefully you got some value, and you'll be putting in windows and doors perhaps more accurately in future. Okay, lovely chatting. Take care. I'll see you in the next video.